Just to say a few words. Lillul Nishmat Arayat. The rabbis tell us in the name of Shlomo HaMelech, the wisest of all men. It's better to go to a house of mourning than to go to a house of happiness and party. We're not talking about lightheadedness party. We're not talking about Hollywood. We're talking about a party that has true happiness. A wedding, bar mitzvah, brit milah. And Shlomo HaMelech is telling us that it's better to go to a house of mourning than to go to a house of happiness. Now, why is that? You would think it's the opposite. You go to a house of happiness, so it's going to elevate you, put you in a good mood. And if it puts a person in a good mood, of course, he's able to accomplish more. But Shlomo HaMelech finishes off and says, "Ve'achai yiten libo." The purpose is that the living will take to heart the value of life, to realize that we are not here forever and ever. The Zohar HaKadosh says that people in this world walk around with a feeling, an inner feeling that they're here forever. And they don't realize they're only here for a very, very short time. And this short time is so quick. Yamav Ketzel Obed, David HaMelech says it's like a passing shadow. Before you know it, it's gone already. And everybody in this room can make a calculation. In the last 20 years of our life, it feels like it was just yesterday. 20 years. And 20 years from now, where are we going to be? So you see how rapid it is and how quick it is. And the older you get, the quicker it is. Have more responsibilities. Sometimes you hear from little kids, they're bored, what are you going to do now? But when a person gets older and he has responsibilities, and there's many responsibilities, time goes very, very, very quick. Now, what is the benefit for a person to know the value of life? And that is for a person to utilize this world in a positive way and not to waste one's time with petty nonsense, with argument, and what did he say, what did she say? If she's going to come to the party, I'm not going to come. If he's going to come to the party, I'm not going to come. All this is very, very trivial things, and it's meaningless in relation to the big scope. Because when a person realizes that he's here only for a short time, a person has to utilize that time in the most productive way. What brings a person to this level of understanding? That's the Bet Avel, the house of mourning, where we know this individual that we knew and we were so close, he's not here anymore. It wakes up our slumber, our sleep, to realize that no one's going to stay here forever. It's just a matter of time. Some people go before other people, but at the end, Shlomo HaMelech says, Dor holech ve'dor ba. A generation comes and the generation goes, and the world continues. Now, our rabbis tell us, what's the statement, a generation comes, a generation goes? It's teaching you that the whole generation disappears. Somebody, I remember this like yesterday, 20 years ago, somebody was showing me his wedding album. And at the time, he was like 40 years old. And he's telling me, Rabbi, you see the people in this album? I want to show you the album. The majority of people in the album are not here anymore. This one is not here, this one is not here, this one is not here. And now I begin to realize that I went to see somebody else's album, they were showing the album, and that person was not there too. So, it's the concept is that the whole generation, everybody in that generation goes and a new generation comes. And the world continues on and on and on and on. So what are we in this world? We're guests invited by God to come into this world for a short time. And we are given the opportunity to accomplish and to do good things. And I just want to say When you saw Ralph Harary come to shul in the morning, he'd go out of his way to say good morning to people much younger than him, people who came as guests who never came before, made them feel comfortable. And it was beautiful to see how he had so much respect for somebody else, even though they're much younger than him. He was the older person in the crowd, and usually some people have an attitude. They have to come to me. I don't have to go to them. I'm old enough to be his grandfather. But he wasn't that way, and he was very outgoing. And he would sometimes go all the way from one end of the shul to the other end of the shul to give a young fellow Hazak Baruch. Why? Because he carried the Sefer Torah. So that's an amazing thing to see, that he had respect for everybody and he commanded respect. He didn't demand respect. So when you saw him come in, you felt this is a very special person, this is a unique person, and he was a person that valued life. He didn't have many demands. He didn't complain. He didn't have demands. Sometimes he would say, it's too hot here, we got to open the door. So why is it so hot in here? But that was basically it. In other areas, he never had complaints. He never complained about anybody. And he was a happy-go-lucky person. And even when he had certain situations where it was hard for him to come to the shul, sometimes in this shul, we're in the wintertime, we're short for one person, we call him, never refused a phone call. You know, some people, they see the number, the caller ID, they walk away from it, they're not answering the phone, they just let it ring and ring and ring. He wasn't that way. He responded. And he was a Kohen. And I once spoke to him about Kohanim. And I told him, you know, the Gemara says Kohanim are quick to anger. So he tells me, yeah, but they're quick to forgive. And I tell him, you're right, because that's what it says. There's 4 different levels. But Gabon tells us when it comes to anger, there's 4 different levels. There's a person, it's very hard to get him angry, but when he gets angry, forget it, it's a volcano. So you have another person, he gets angry very quick, but he's very easy to forgive. And there's a person who it's hard to get him angry and he's easy to forgive. Of course, that's the highest level, but then you have the worst level. The person's quick to anger and he's very, very hard to forgive. He doesn't forget after 30 years what happened. He holds it in his heart and he's angry. Ralph didn't hold anything in his heart. He was a person that was ready to make shalom and make peace, and this was one of the qualities of Aharon HaKohen. You saw in him the genes of Aharon HaKohen, and when he went up to do Birkat Kohanim, he did it with love. In Birkat Kohanim, what's a Kohen doing? He's channeling the blessing from God to the Jewish people. Now, he wasn't the wealthiest person in the shul, but he felt happy to give the blessing even to people wealthier than him. It didn't bother him that somebody else who has so much already is going to now receive a beracha through him as a Kohen. So that's a beautiful quality. That's Aharon HaKohen who had the Midat HaChesed, and we saw this quality in Ralph. It's a beautiful quality. So there's no question that knowing him and getting close to him puts us on a higher level, coming here to realize that we're not here forever and we're only here for a short time, and we have to be smart and use the time in a good way. Use it for happiness, because what do you think? We have 1,000 years to basically get aggravated and to make fights and to make arguments and then to be happy on some other days. How many days are you going to have happiness? Just to finish off, just to give you an idea of how quick life goes, our rabbis tell us that 1/3 of a person's life, 1/3, imagine a person was to live, let's say 75 years, 1/3 of his life is spent sleeping. The average person, when he's young, he sleeps more, when he's older, he sleeps less, but average 8 hours. 8 hours is 1/3 of a day, 1/3 of a person's life. Imagine, 25 years he spent sleeping. Another 8 hours in the day, a person spends going to work, traveling, coming and going from work, doing the shopping and doing all the things that he has to do for the family. That's another 25 years. What's left? 25 years, and in these 25 years, a person has to grow, a person has to develop, and in these 25 years, you have to be fortunate to live in good times without having war, without having tragedies, without having what we have this week with this virus going on. I mean, there's people that I know, they never heard this their whole life. They went through life, they never experienced a virus like this, where it's causing people to shut down stores, and this one cannot shake hands with this one, and this one has to be distance of this one. We never experienced that. So this is something to show us that life is too short to get upset with people, and for this reason, a person should utilize the years of his life in the most productive and happy ways. And this was Ralph. He came into shul, we saw a smile early in the morning. Some people, they come to shul in the morning, you can't talk to them. They're half asleep, they're grunting, they're coming in, they're tired, this and that. He would come in the back door, he put out his hand, big smile, and from one corner of the room to the other corner of the room, he would communicate with everybody. That's a beautiful thing. So this is something that we need to learn from him, to remember this qualities forever, and hopefully this will make us better people to utilize our time in this world with happiness and good things. We don't really have time to get caught up with nonsense and pettiness. If you realize it and you analyze it, there's not enough time in the day to do that. So Be'ezrat Hashem, this Choto Yamer should be in his merit, that we, God willing, will improve our lives in his merit, and we'll always remember him as that happy, jolly person. And we don't know what people go through behind closed doors. Sometimes you see a person's happy, you assume that everything is going perfect. Things didn't go perfect in his life, and yet he was able to carry that happiness. So it's a lesson for us. Sometimes some people have more than other people, and they're still not happy, depressed, and they're walking with a heavy face, a sour face. And you have people who have much less, and they're walking with happiness. So Be'ezrat Hashem, we have to remember him in this way, positive way, and God willing, for all his good deeds, he will pray for the family, he will pray for his wife, always cared about his wife every day. He spoke to me many times how he looked up to his wife, and he respected her in a very, very big way. And by him, it was like the most important thing in the world for him to go pick her up in the morning to go to the school. That's the number one priority. He has to go. This is important. And this is how he treated her like a queen. And we see the opposite true. She treated him like a king. And Be'ezrat Hashem, that's another beautiful point to focus on. So let his memory stay with us, and he should always pray for us and the welfare of the family and the whole community. Amen.
Amen. His next speaker will be Rabbi Sainz. We say Hallelujah. Shiru l'Adonai Shir Hadash, Tilato B'Kav Hasidim. Sing to Hashem, praise Hashem. Now, if you take the word Rifael ben Sarah, Rifael Sarah Yavresh Shin, and the way Mekubalim in Israel, you take the two letters of the person's name and then the mother's name, and it can tell a story of them, just a little bit. So it spells out Rash, which does mean poor. When a person does pass on, they're poor from mitzvot because they're not doing mitzvot anymore. But he's shar. Shar is singing. Sing to Hashem. Whatever he did in his life, it's going to bring him to sing to Hashem in where he is now. And that's like a little synopsis of his life. Like the rabbi said, he was always in a good mood and cheery in the shul. I was one of the young men who would go to shake my hand. And he did that for everybody. And I'll just be a few minutes. He also, he let me know that we're related, by the way. I didn't know this, but he told me that Auntie Celia Mevora is my aunt from the husband, from Mevorach's side. That's my grandmother was Mali Levy Aleh Shalom. And you know the connection, obviously, you know the family. So that's my family. So we have that relation. And he just told me that this year. I knew him for a bunch of years. I never knew. And I don't know how he knew. I guess he knew my parents, so he let me know. And we see that he was always in a good mood and singing and cheering. And when a person does go to Shamayim, it's not the end of them, obviously, like we know. It's just the separation of body and soul. They separate, but they're still there. And one day, when Hashem is going to bring bring Techiyat HaMetim, they'll rejoin. Like we say in this Mizmor. We say in one of the Shir HaMa'alos, we say, Ketal Hermon sheyored al Haret Zion. When the Tal will come down on Haret Zion, the mountain of Zion, Kisham Seva Adonai Beracha, because there Hashem will command the Beracha, Hayim al Ha'olam, to bring life to the world. The Tal is the dew which Hashem is going to use to bring back all the Metim. Now look what we have here. It says, Al Harare Sion, Harary. Harare, the mountains, is Harary. Sion, I mean, you can just say Sion also from the word Siyun, which is like the grave. That the Tal, you have a pasuk saying that the Tal of Techiyat HaMetim, right next to the word of Harary Siyun. Interesting. And what else do you have here? It talks about Kashemen HaTov Al Harosh Al Zakan Zekan Aharon, talking about Aharon and his beard, whatever that means. And of course, this Harary was a Kohen. So you have really, it's talking mamash. It can be about Ralph himself and his family, of course, all Kohanim. So if he has a special place, I don't even know. So if you have a special place in the Mizmor, we're referencing that does show something very special for Ralph, Alav Shalom. So again, his zechut will tagen aleinu, and he'll be, Hashem will bring blessing to his wife and his kids and his siblings, brothers and sisters, and for all of Am Yisrael. Amen.
Amen. As the rabbi mentioned before, it's good to go to the house of mourners. You know, before you want to go, you think twice, I should go, I shouldn't go, I'm not in the right mood. I'd rather to go to a party, to a wedding, the music, dancing, people smiling. You come to the house of mourners. The truth is a big mitzvah. And that's why Shlomo HaMelech, the wise of all men, he says it's better to go to the house of mourners. Why? Because house of mourners, you know, you think the life's serious. It's serious matter, and you say you take it. This is what I'm here for. Why Hashem put me here? I remember my son Shlomo in London, about maybe 20 years ago. He interviewed people in the street of London. And he asked them, are you Jewish? So it happened to be an old lady, 80 years old. She said, yeah, I'm Jewish. He said, what's to be a Jew for you? She said, really? I never thought about this question. Here's a lady, 80 years old. She went through her life. It's another few years she's going to leave the world. And she doesn't know what to be a Jew. It's Rahmanut. You know, we were born as a Jew to serve Hashem as a Jewish person, to know it's our tachlit and purpose in this world. I mean, Hashem has a lot of goyim, billions of people goyim. The Jewish people are very small. We are the chosen people. Hashem sent the beracha to this world in our merit. Not because we have blue eyes and blonde hair. It's because we serving Hashem. We are the people of the book. We're introducing Hashem to the whole world. So every morning when I wake up in the morning, and I say the bracha, Elohai neshama shenatata bi tehora. God, you give me a soul, pure. The soul is pure. So what I have to worry about, my soul is pure, so I can return it pure, it's fine. No, it's not enough. You have to enhance it. If I give you $1,000 loan for 1 week and you brought it back to me and you didn't do anything with it, you're a majnoon, because you can take the money and do profit out of it. Buy merchandise, sell it, and you make it $1,200, make $1,400, and give me back the $1,000. But if you bring me the same amount of money, you wasted. You didn't invest in you. So this sanding over here, Hashem gave me neshama the pure. The question is like a diamond. Diamond is not polished; it's a diamond. But Hashem wants us to take this diamond and to polish it. After 80 years, 100 years, 120 years, every beracha, every mitzvah, every good deed that we do, every hesed, you walk in the street, you put a smile to somebody else. Because if the guy has a bad day, he has miserable, he had a fight, somebody come to the class and he's a teacher. When I was a little boy, he's screaming, yelling, as I told the teacher, I said, why are you so mad today? If your wife did something wrong to you, it's not my fault. Why are you putting it on me? And I didn't realize it's not the way I have to talk to a person, Instead, talk to him nicely. Can I get you a cup of coffee? Put smile on your face, crack a joke, take the stress away from him. And this is what we need to do in order to make people's life more pleasant. If a person is down and sad and depressed, he cannot serve Hashem. If we know what the tachlit, what the purpose, we can serve Hashem better. So our purpose here, sitting down today and doing the Arayat, is really to bring merit to Ravi. What's the merit? The merit by hearing the good qualities, how he treats his wife, how he treats children, how he treats the people in the synagogue, how he talk, how he, all that we can try to emulate. This is slang in Arabic. It says, Mahbub and the Nas. Eli, where are you? Mahbub and the Nas. You see Arabic, you forgot that. You have to come back to Hathaway. Mahbub and the Nas, Mahbub and Rabbu. Which means person who's well liked by people, Hashem loves him. How do you know if Hashem loves you or not? You see if people love you or not. If you're a friendly person, you're doing a good job. If Hasfi Shalom, you're a troublemaker, nobody likes you, Hashem's not going to like you. That's why it says, how much a person, he has to be polite. I used to drive in the morning every day. Now I'm going to Florida most of the time in winter. But in Richmond, and a guy jogging in the morning. It's freezing cold, so I close my window. And I see the guy jogging in the morning at 7 o'clock. Every time I meet him right in the same spot, by the church over there. And he says, good morning. So I say, good morning. Second day, same thing. I meet him we meeting in the same spot. He's going to the police station and I'm coming to the shul. So the third day I says, he's a goy, non-Jewish, and I'm a rabbi. So he's supposed to greet me. Isn't Berkei Avot says, Heve, Mekabel Kol Adam Besever Panim Yafot. You have to greet every person with a smile. So I open my windows and I give him a big smile and big greeting. And I feel good about myself because really this is our purpose. This is our tachlit that we need to do. This Shabbat was very difficult. This first Shabbat in the family when Rafi is not with us. Whether in the shul, whether with the family. But Miriam told me she had beautiful Shabbat when the children are around her. Not too many Shabbatot. Sometimes the kids comes here, comes there, but to be together as one. And this is what I'd like to ask you, the boys and the girls, to do that chesed with your mom. Now that your father is not here, you have to give the kavod double to your mother. You owe it to her. If you call your mother once a week, you have to do twice a week now. Because Kibbutz Avim goes to both parents, father and mother. Now the father is not here. But still, as a boy, you have to do the kavod. How you do kavod to your father is not ran. The kavod that you give him by going to shul, by saying kaddish, by saying brachot, no matter where are you at the time, is you have to make the effort to do that for your father. And 1 year to say kaddish is not lost. My father raised me. My father brought me. Without him, I won't be here today. And I'd like to finish with a story. When I go to Israel, I'd love to go to Yam HaMelech, to the Dead Sea. And I was that year I'm sitting, I'm saying kaddish for my father, Alav Shalom. So I look at my watch, it was 4 o'clock. I say, I can't reach it to Yerushalayim. Yerushalayim, and the sundown would be at 5:30. Until I get there, I miss Mincha and Arbi. So I got nervous, I got dressed, I'm out of the room, go to my car, and then I say, what should I do? I start getting nervous. I don't want to miss the Kaddish. You have a feeling sometimes, you'll do anything to keep the Kaddish. And in case emergency, you can't do it. So you call a good friend, say, listen, I'm not able to make it today. Do me a favor, say the Kaddish for me. I'm saying Kaddish now for somebody in Florida that they closed the shul over there, and he need to say Kaddish for his mother, and he can't do the Kaddish. So I said, I'll do it for you. Of course, in time of emergency. But if everything normal, you have to make a shadlu to go to shul. It says no one in Shomayim is not, nobody can make it different except the children. The real children, they are the extension of the father. I mean, you can pay somebody $100 or $500 a year to read the Kaddish on your behalf, and you are set free. It's not the same. Okay? So anyway, to make the long story short, I got to the car, and then I said, wow, I see here kibbutz Ein Gedi. You know, it's right across the, I say, I don't want to take a chance, let me go here, closer. I come to the kibbutz, I drive up the hill, I go straight to follow the sign, says, the Knesset, shul. The shul is locked, nothing there, nobody there. I said, let me go to the office. I go to the office. I said, excuse me, are you going to have a minyan here? He said, no, nobody comes here from Harary. I said, what should I do? I have to say Kaddish. Any way you can help me? He said, I'm sorry, sir, I can't help you. I said, no such thing. And I say, you know what? She saw that I'm so devastated. I want to make the Kaddish. She said, you know what? Here's the key to the shul. You go sit in the shul, do whatever. She didn't know what Kaddish all about. You know, they're not religious people, so they didn't know any better. So I took the key. I said, Hashem should help. I went to the shul. I opened the door. I started reading Tehillim for half an hour. And then I got closer to the sundown. Now another 10 minutes, khalas. So all of a sudden, I'm looking from the window, and I had two more people with me. And I look from the window, I see a van parked by the kibbutz, by the outside the shul. Usually they don't have minyan during the week. How many people came out of the van?
Wow.
How many?
7.
7 and us is 3. So they walked in and said, there's a minyan in Harary. They said, yeah, I'm waiting for you.
Come on out.
They came in, we made it. I was so happy because Baruch Hashem, when you need something wholeheartedly, God will provide you. In anything, in mitzvah, in business, and that, put your dependence in Hashem, and Hashem will give you. Bezrat Hashem, Zechutot again aleinu.
Amen.
His merit in Shamayim should be elevated from one level to the next. And through the berachot, girls, you can answer amen. You can say the berachot for the year. I know you don't say Kaddish, but at least when you go to shul, every Kaddish that's being said, you listen, you get the same credit. Tehillim, you can say no problem. Mitzvah you do, chesed, say Leilun Nishmat, Rafael ben Sarah alav shalom. When you light the candle for Shabbat, you can say also Leilun Nishmat. He wants to hear you. In Shamayim, he's proud of you. Every time when you mention his name, there's a big smile on his face. So this is my family. I'm proud of it. Bezrat Hashem should pray for you and should bring simachot to this family and to our community. And this Shabbat, we all read in the Torah, Parashat Parah Adumah, the son of purity. And he's a Kohen. Kohen is the one who brings the Parah Adumah. And we get ready for Pesach, Bezrat Hashem. Inshallah, we celebrate around the table, and his presence is going to be with us. It's not going to go away. The body is not there, but the neshama, the soul is there. When we mention his name, he's going to be there. He's going to be remembered. And let's keep it in a good memory. And Bezrat Hashem, every tefillah, every mitzvah should be registered to his name.
Amen.
Dad would say that family time was important. When I was a boy, we visited my grandparents most weekends. Our cousins would meet us there. We would spend our days playing. We have a nice family dinner. We head home. And that was the beginning of my family time memories. At that age, I didn't appreciate my dad's wisdom. Family time was easy. It was fun. It was how we spent our time. We looked forward to it. We talked about what we did last weekend, what we're going to do next weekend. Time and time again, Dad would remind us that family time is the most important thing. Family was the most important. Later, I would come to understand that not everyone spends their free time with their family. As I grew from a child into an adult, life got busy. Who has time for visiting family? The phone calls turned into once a week, every other week, once a month. The visits slowed down. It takes real effort to get together. Luckily, family time was something that Dad valued and instilled in us. As my siblings settled into adulthood, we started speaking on the phone more often. As we got to know each other, we found that we really enjoyed being together. The visits increased. We made more and more time for each other, and we grew closer. Dad was very consistent in his wishes over the years. He wanted us to be together. We always knew that this house had a bed waiting for us. We even knew that that one bedroom bungalow had space for us. It was one bedroom, but had space, not just for one night, but we had room for the whole summer. Dad loved family time. The past few weeks have been difficult, but we've been fortunate enough to have spent many days and many nights together. During this emotional roller coaster, Dad told us more than once how much he enjoyed us being together. Last weekend, Dad pulled a trick. He was very quiet, non-responsive. The doctor said he wouldn't make it through the weekend. I got a call from my brother. Very difficult call. So I came to the hospital. But what did I see? This man wasn't on the last weekend. He just miraculously bounced back. He had his family time, yes. He had us all gathered around his bed. He was joking and laughing. He had his usual sharp wit. This was Dad as we knew him. This was the Ralph. He had the nurses and doctors amused, flattered, sometimes even annoyed them. And we knew he was just poking fun. That was his way. He had us telling stories. We were wearing funny hats. We were showing pictures. We really made some fun, wonderful memories. And this went on for days and days. I mean, long days, all day, all night. We actually made so much noise that the staff, when we asked the staff to move us to a larger room, they immediately said yes, at the end of the hall, of course. So we moved, and the fun and the laughs and the stories continued. Family time is what he wanted, and family time is what we all had. With the coronavirus around us, shutting down schools and quarantining families together, we'll all get an unprecedented amount of family togetherness. We wish that you value this and create memories during this upcoming family time. I want to thank my family and our community for supporting us through this major life transition. We're fortunate to have each other and to have you all. Thank you. If my dad was here, he'd be very proud of how we're all honoring him.
Hazak
Hazak.
Very well said.
Sure.
Dad, devoted, admirable, dauntless. Devoted. You were my stay-at-home dad. The brown paper bags you packed my lunches in were decorated with a note every single day. Hi, baby. Have a good day at school. Hi, baby. I love you. Even when I begged you to stop because my friends thought it was silly, you still drew hearts and smiley faces to show that my lunch was made with your love. You were there at every after-school activity. driving me to swimming lessons, gymnastics, dance, softball practice, you name it. You were happy to drive me there, cheer me on, and then take me home. You were my #1 supporter, and you showed it. Devoted. Admirable. You have this incredible ability to make friends with anyone. Grocery store cashiers, bank tellers, Phil from Seacoast Chevrolet, literally anyone. It gave you such joy to crack a joke and create a momentary bond, some that ended there, but some that lasted a lifetime. My social anxiety-ridden personality admires your lack thereof, all while you rocked shirtless, socks and sandals looks. Though your outfit choices were not fashionable, admirable. Dauntless. You were a fearless man. You had the confidence to dance in the middle of an empty room, to no music, just to put a smile even on one person's face. You were the topic of every conversation at every wedding, party, bar mitzvah. Who was that hilarious old man tearing up the dance floor with a glass of scotch in his hand? That's my dad, I'd say, with a smile on my face before coming to join you. You were never worried to speak your mind, even if what you said was a little strange. Put some triple antibiotic ointment on it, you'd say, even when I was complaining about a headache. I'm sure you knew it wouldn't fix everything, but you always said it with the best intentions. Always thoughtful, never thoughtless, dauntless. Dad.
Very well said.
I spoke graveside, and some of this will be the second time you're hearing it, but the thoughts haven't changed since that day. I've been thinking about some of the same things he said. You know, everyone here today, he would love to hug you one more time. He would love to wrap his arms around you one more time and smile at you. Sitting Shiva, I just keep hearing stories of people. They sit down, the first thing they say is, your dad had a huge smile for me every time I saw him at Wegmans or at another grocery store he loved visiting, or in the street or in shul. And his optimism was unending, and his energy to do things was constant for his kids, for mom, and until he passed, you don't get to really realize that he just didn't have to do that much. That's what he just decided to do, and it made him really special. So Dad had a lot of nicknames for everyone. Everyone in this room definitely had one. Most of you had a nickname or two. And we had a nickname for Dad as well. He was Mr. Fix-It. So Mr. Fix-It would fix anything. There was no broken microwave. There was a broken fuse. There was no broken TV. There was a problem with a transistor, and he knew how to fix it. There was no such thing as a broken bicycle laying on the side of the street. That was my next bike. And I found it amazing. We would drive around on Sundays, and we'd drive by, and a bike would go in the back. Oh, that's a bike for Shira. Oh, that's another bike for Neely. Neely doesn't need 3 bikes. Another bike for Neely. And we would come home, and we spent that time together fixing a bike. Now, like Ed said beautifully, I didn't understand that was awesome. We never went to Disney World. And my friends went to Disney World, and I thought, oh, we don't go to Disney World. But we had quality time together that was fixing a bicycle. And that taught me how to fix bicycles, and that taught me how to fix TVs. And then, like Yoni was saying, at one point I had 8 TVs in my room because the unspoken rule was if I fix it, I keep it. I got it. He had a similar method for healthcare. Triple antibiotic ointment would fix everything. If I told him about coronavirus, we were definitely fixing it with triple antibiotic ointment. I think when we memorialize people, we romanticize a little bit and find the magic in the things they've done. And I think that Dad, as Mr. Fix-It, it was obviously material things that he fixed. We didn't have the means to always have the new bike, so we fixed the bike, and he was thrifty and crafty that way. But I think more than that, there's something really special about if he saw you with a broken smile. That was the craftiness and the thriftiness of Dad. He saw your smile, and if it wasn't big enough, he made it bigger. And if he used a smile, he would do that, or if he had a joke, it doesn't matter what he would do, but he would be there for you to help you feel a little bit better that day. And if it was someone in this room, of course, but it was also the strangers. It was also the person across the room who'd never been to shul before in this synagogue, and he would make the effort for you. And then I think about what that takes to do as a man. Shira said, like, that lack of social anxiety is incredible, but it wasn't that it was easy for him. He overcame it, and he did it. And he would talk about that. Charisma is you're not just born with it, but you look outside yourself and you make the other person more important than you. And Dad did that. And I admire him, and I'll look up to him forever because he's my hero. And I'll think about him for doing that for everybody he ever met. I never saw him not smile or high five a friend or jab one of these guys in the ribs if he saw you anywhere. He would always just try to get a rise out of you, and that was for the best. That was his love language. Everybody here was talking about quality time. That's just how he spent time. Driving my mom to school every day wasn't because my mom didn't have a license. It's because that was another 12 minutes he got to spend with her. That's just, that's the most beautiful way we can spend time and look for ways to improve our relationships. I admire you for that, Dad. Yeah, I learned a lot about Tikkun Olam, and I think Tikkun Olam sounds like a really big idea, fixing the world. And I think he was just always able to start with one person and help fix that one person with a bit of happiness. And I think one reason, let's be more like Ralph. In the last days speaking to Dad in the hospital, we had a conversation, and I tried to list the things that he taught me. And I started to list them, and I immediately started to go, you taught me how to dance. And then you taught me how to, he goes, no, wait. I taught you how to be a fool. And we laughed about it a little bit, and I was like, yeah, being a fool is absolutely how you figure out how to dance. You don't figure out how to dance necessarily by rhythm. You figure out how to let yourself be free and let yourself make a fool of yourself, and then you can enjoy yourself. I thought about it more and more, and it was layers to what it means to be a fool. Dad was a fool for love. Dad fell in love constantly. He fell in love with my friends. He fell in love with my mom. He was completely in love with all of my sisters. And we talked also about his first wife, of course. He fell in love with Paulette and gave me the incredible large family that I have. He said, in the hospital, he said, after we had a rough Friday, we called Ed, and Ed flew in, and Dana came down, and I walked into the hospital on Saturday, and everybody was in the room already except for me. And I walked in, and he stopped the conversation, and he pointed at me, and he said, "You'll remember this day." Because that's what he wanted around him. He wasn't a material guy, but family being around meant everything. I hope we could all be a fool for love more like that. The fool is known as someone who in the lower classes used his wit to outsmart aristocrats. Like Shakespearean texts, this was a crucial role written in. It was how you connected poor people and aristocratic people into the same idea, motifs, romance. That is actually how they connected everything. It bridges the gap from the better than nows to the not smart enoughs. And Dad playing a fool is a stroke of genius. Despite not finishing his education, part and parcel to needing to make money from age 16 onwards, Dad was very smart. He had enough charisma for days, which is undeniable when you mention Ralph Harary. He had an ability to make himself a fool to connect to children, to befriend adults, and of course, to his superpower, to woo ladies in spite of his mustache and tinted glasses, exemplified by having an incredible marriage to my mom. He was so good at being married, he did it twice. And we're so glad he did. I love my siblings, Ed, Selena, and Dana, and even my cousin Paulette, his first wife. Longer story, another day. And to play the fool, you're not a fool. Dad was no fool. He would not be taken for a ride, sold a bad product, or put up with a scheme. He told me a story, I think it was of Selena once buying a VCR, and then she came home, and it was just packing peanuts in a brick. And it was bought on the back of a white van. And I had a good laugh at my older sister's naivete. Years later, I was in college, and I called Dad to brag about the incredible deal I got on this 7-piece stereo system I bought for super cheap. High-end merchandise, class. My dad was excited for me to be excited. He said, "Where do you get it from?" And my stomach dropped. I couldn't even say white van. He was going to give it to me. I said it. He said, "Ya ibni," followed by some harsher words. But aside from that, he taught me really well how to be street smart. But if you're not an actual fool, you can play the fool, and Dad truly knew how to play the part. And if it were 2 empty bowls on the table, he would stick them on his ears and be Princess Leia. Or if he found a piece of foam, he would push it on his nose and become a clown. If there were costume pieces around, he would jump into character. Anything to make my mom or his kids laugh. And that only grew if he had a bigger audience. Shabbats, holidays, summers, on the bungalow deck. Even my one friend Elian called him the Ralph. Because there can only be one, and it was an experience. You didn't say hi to Ralph. You had a Ralph experience. And that included just seeing him on the if you bumped into him, or at shul, or here at Shabbat, where he really held court. My friends would spend more time talking to him than they would to me whenever they came to visit, and his scene-stealing ability was a show we all had tickets to. But it was not selfish. To play the fool, you have to have humility and a lack of ego, and Dad lived to be laughed at and wasn't afraid to be silly. He was 78 and a half when he passed, acting like a child at times, but he was the emotional rock of the family, and he'll always be my favorite fool. You spoke a little about being a rich man, and I would call my dad a lot for advice, and he would say, and if it was something about finances, he'd be like, "Funny money, baby, funny money." And it was just trying to tell me, don't sweat the small stuff. Does it mean you're going to have more memories? Does it mean you're going to go on another trip? Work for it. Work for being a bigger part of your friendships and a bigger part of your family. And I think when it comes to family, he was a rich man. When he would walk around and make someone smile, he collected that, and he was a rich man. And even in his last 2 weeks, the way that he played a trick on us and conducted us all to be around him and laugh with him and hug him. And he got to say, "I love you" to every one of us so many times. And not everybody gets to do that. And we got to say it back to him. And I hope he felt like a rich man, because we loved him so much. And I will miss him so much. And I would do anything to spend more quality time with him, because he gave all of his quality time to us. He took me snowboarding when I was 12, and I loved it, and I fell in love with it. And one of the last conversations I had with him, I said, "Dad, thank you so much for taking me snowboarding all the time." He would drive me 2 hours, 2.5 hours, just to sit in the lodge. And I said, "Thank you, he would take me every Sunday." I said, "Thank you." And he said to me, "No, you can't thank me for that, because I got more pleasure watching you get pleasure than you could ever have." And I didn't know that. I always just felt indebted to him. And that's the kind of selfless man he was. And I will miss him, and I love him, and this house will be too big and too empty without him.
One more question.
Yes.
I was here last Pesach, And it was the best Pesach I could ever remember. It was the funniest, the most loving. Because Ralph had his family here, he had his grandchildren here. They were all performers. They were singing, they were dancing, they were doing magic tricks while passing the matzah, doing the harose. It was like a stage show. Remarkable. I told Ralph when he was in the hospital, I said, Ralph, this Pesach, you don't have to invite me. You open the door, I'll be there. There's no invitations. I'll be there. I had such a great time at last year's Pesach. I can't remember. It was so heartfelt and so warming that couldn't beat it.
And they don't thank you that you wrote to us. I will never forget. So
I don't want to repeat. I'd be very redundant in repeating what the rabbi said about his character and his moral fiber and all, but he was, as they said, he was just a man for all seasons. And he was my wonderful brother. Thank you.
Zachabaru.
I'm just gonna say he lived life to the fullest. He lived life to the fullest.
Amen.
Everything that the boys have said, the rabbi has said, is facts.
We're going to say Kaddish and then we'll do Hashkavar.